Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Village of Gurnee Planning and Zoning Board for this Wednesday, November 20, 2024. Could I have roll call, please?
Campbell.
Present.
Morgan.
Here.
Nordentoff. Here. Path.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Ware.
Here.
And Sula.
Present. We are 100% here. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the meeting that we held back on October 9th. I noticed some changes during my review and I communicated them to Autrian ahead of the meeting, and she's provided a red line copy for us. All the changes were either just minor grammar things or a slight changing to the wording, but it didn't really change the substance in general. Does anybody have any other changes? If not, a motion to approve as amended would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Campbell, second by Mr. Nordentoff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for Six Flags Great America, located at 542 North Route 121, otherwise known as Milwaukee Avenue. Autrian?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Okay. Eric Godinez of Solar Optimum HQ, on behalf of Six Flags Great America, is requesting a special use permit to install 40 freestanding ground-mounted solar shade structures within Six Flags Northwest parking lot, and a special use permit to allow the ground-mounted solar energy systems to exceed the maximum height limit of 15 feet. The proposed structure are designed to function as carports, providing shaded parking while generating renewable energy to support the theme park's operations. Each solar shade structure consists of photovoltaic systems that form the entire roof structure. The PV arrays are mounted on 15.38-foot tall columns, which are directly attached to the ground. The structure's height measures 22.1 feet at a maximum tilt angle with a minimum vertical clearance of 13.5 feet. The 13.5-foot clearance is a fire code requirement in the parking lots that allows unobstructed access for emergency vehicles such as fire trucks. The increased height also ensures a safe passage for large vehicles such as tour buses, recreational vehicles, and delivery and service trucks. The site is adjacent to residential zoning to the north, east, and south. At the closest points, the solar shades will maintain 770 feet from the residences to the north, 990 feet from the homes to the east, and over 2,000 feet to the southern residences. The project meets all other applicable use standards regulating minimum setbacks and restrictions within easements. The petitioner is in attendance to walk the PZB through their request and answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. As this item is a public hearing, I would request that anyone present who intends to either give testimony or ask a question to please stand and be sworn in by the village attorney. So if you think you're going to say something, please stand and be sworn in.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to the petitioner. If you could please just state your name for the record, please.
Eric Godinez.
Thank you.
I'd like to start off by thanking the board and the public for giving us this opportunity to address this special use permit. And the request is for Six Flags to have means to offset their load and electric bill, which is most of their cost that they incur, it's through electricity, since it's a theme park and they use a lot of electricity for the rides. They've approached us and we've contracted with Six Flags to build a 6.4 megawatt solar system that comprises of carports that would provide shade for the vehicles parking there. It would also provide protection from elements like snow for any of the guests, and I assume off-season would be when it's snowing, but in any case, it would, in the summertime, it does provide a lot of shade. It does make a big difference for people parking under it. There is a noticeable difference in the temperature from just parking under the arrays. And it's going to be a great project for Six Flags. It's going to employ we're going to use local labor to build the structures and do the electrical work as well. We're a company based out of California. We've done many projects like this before. We've just wrapped up a 12.3 megawatt project for the Six Flags in the city of Valencia in California, which is about twice the size of this one. And if you guys want to go online, look at some of the photos, there's a lot of YouTube videos out now about the difference that it's made for the park and the visitors. And I think it's a great opportunity for the city of Gurnee and its residents to have a project like this in their community.
Okay, questions? Mr. Morgan, go ahead.
Just really quickly, I couldn't tell, and maybe you can just point me in the right direction. So it's 40 freestanding solar shade structures. How much of an area, square foot wide, acreage wise, is that going to cover on the parking lot?
Total overall, 1 second.
I can run the measurements now. Let me see.
Trina, can you maybe point to the areas on the illustration that are going to be covered?
Sorry?
Could you point on the diagram you've got up there? Could you?
Yeah, I was just measuring it here so you would see.
I thought she had a picture of with the area mapped out.
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
just couldn't
Just
tell
want to
what it was.
show it here.
It's kind of hard to see.
This is the area, so it's about let's say by acres, it's about 15 acres.
15 acres.
Yes, of the parking lot. So the drawing also shows.
And the entire parking lot is how big?
The entire parking lot is much bigger than that. So see, this is the entire parking lot. This
Okay.
is the
So it looks
area
like
that
it's
they are
maybe-
covering.
Okay,
It looks like maybe it's a quarter or 20% maybe?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And the illustration, if you want to see that, let's bring in. So this is also the illustration. It's basically this area.
Thank you, that helps.
Okay. Dave, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to, this is just a point of clarification so that we have it correct for the record. The request, if I heard correctly, is just over 22 feet for max height. In the text of what was submitted, the petition by the petitioner, it states a max height of 20 feet 1 inch. So is the verbal testimony and the staff notes accurate at 22 versus the 20.1 that's in what they submitted in writing?
Yes, we actually, we can go with what the staff report mentions. They actually stated a little bit less, but once it is at the maximum tilt, it might be, the actual height might be more. So we went with the height when it is at maximum tilt, maximum angle. So that's 22.1 feet at max. It doesn't go beyond that.
Thank you. So my next question, my assumption is that the orientation will generally be to the south. The tilt would be to the southern,
That is correct.
southwestern, that sort of thing. So generally speaking, the tilt is away from where most of the residents, or the closest residents, which are all to the north. So my question is, can you give me an idea as to the elevation change between the new height of our canopies and the residents that are the closest to it? And, you know, what could they expect if there is even a line of sight potentially between them? And part two to that, is there any chance that with this orientation and whatnot, that at certain times of the year or day, that there would be reflection off of those and sort of a mirror effect that could end up, you know, affecting those residents even as far away as they are?
Good questions. So we don't have any topo data, well, at least I don't have any here with me. We did perform an Alta survey, which gave us some topo, but I don't have that in front of me to know the difference in the height elevation between the max height and the residence. But I can say that being at the park during the site surveys, we did notice that there's a tree line that's covering the residents, the field of view from the residents. So there wouldn't really be any aesthetics or any real impact to the residents because of the tree line that's covering the park. And as far as the reflectiveness, these panels, we install them around airports all the time, and they have very stringent requirements for glare. The coating on the panels, it has an anti-glare coating, so that's not going to be an issue.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious. How many parking spaces will be under the canopy?
That's a good question. Good.
And then also, are you losing any parking spaces?
We're not going to be losing any of the spaces. As far as how many, just bear with me here. I know we have notes.
The only thing is that based on, like, per my conversation with the building plan reviewers, you know, once those posts are located, you know, basically are located on the ground, they are fixed, there should be some barricades to secure them so cars are not hitting them.
Okay.
I don't know if that causes any loss of parking, but that would be some type of structure that right now is not there.
Okay.
You know, so it depends on the layout. But probably the loss of parking would be very minor if it happens.
I know, because there are times when it's full.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so the design, it takes into consideration the crosshairs on the striping. So the columns are designed to hit the crosshairs, so they'll fall within a range where it shouldn't impede any of the vehicles. And I'm trying to find the information on the parking spaces being covered, but I don't think I have that here with me. I apologize.
I have a question when you're finished, if you're finished.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't have that information.
Okay. So for the solar ground mount system, you mentioned that it will require minimal maintenance. What is that maintenance? And you talk about panel cleaning, you talk about inverter maintenance, they're regular, you call them routine. How often are those? And you talk about structural inspections. Who does those inspections?
So the system would have an O&M agreement or a contract where there's another layer to the project where there's a financier involved. They'll operate the system, own and operate the system for Six Flags. So they typically have a O&M schedule where they'll come out every 4 months or so. And during that time, they're looking at the inverters, making sure there aren't any loose wires, looking at the DC wire management on the modules, any bolted connections, they're looking at those, making sure that there aren't any loose connections. So that typically happens around every 4 months. Depending on the location, it might be every 6 months, but typically 4 months.
Thank you.
Todd?
I think the staff answered my questions about the protecting the struts in the parking lot, but you mentioned also that there's a non-glaring coating on this. How long does that coating last?
The life of the modules, we've actually installed systems at airports, and those go through, again, pretty strict requirements. We do glare studies, and it's a technology that's approved even at airports.
But is there a lifetime? Is it for the life of the panels, or do they have to have a recoating? You know, is it certain chemicals you can't use on them when you clean them, or who, what, when, where, how? I was just curious with that. So
Modules are pretty much maintenance-free. There's no recoating. The life of a module is typically 25 to 30 years, so that during that life, there shouldn't be any issues with the glare.
No, one thing that came to mind was, right now in the parking lot, you have video cameras on poles for surveillance. How do they plan to address surveillance underneath these?
Good question. So at the other Six Flags that we built in the city of Valencia, we've had cameras installed under the carports on the high points, so they're keeping their security and visibility.
And tagging on to that, I assume that there's some sort of lighting under there as well, correct?
Correct. There would be LED lighting.
Okay. Any other questions on the first round?
Yeah, I mean, this is a given, but I just want to hear it out loud. No health concerns with regards to the panels. You know, they're 22 feet or 15 feet above. No health concerns to the public. They've been installed many times before. From my research, the most prohibitive thing for these has been the cost. And if you guys have worked something out with Six Flags for the costs associated, it looks like something that could be beneficial over a long term. But just to hear you say it out loud.
No health concerns to the public when having these carport structures overhead. They're very typical and prevalent. We're out of California. We build, I think, more carports and canopy superstructures than any other solar contractor, and we've never had an issue, at least not anything that we've come across.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I'll open the floor to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to ask a question? Okay. Please come to the microphone, and you weren't sworn in before, so I'll have to ask you to be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Sandra Eanes, 1039 Bow Court, Gurnee.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
And the way it works is you address your questions to us, and then after everyone who is going to ask a question has asked their questions, I'll close the floor to the public, and then we'll address the question.
Okay. Living in a city like Chicago with a lot of severe weather, winter weather, my question is, how would severe storms that produce massive hail affect the panels, if at all? Do they have a chance of breaking or anything with the hail? We'll use hail as an example. So severe weather on those panels.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thanks. At this time, I'll close the floor to the public. If you could please address that concern.
Yes, the modules are impact resistant. We've installed them in all types of different weather conditions, different states with heavy wind and snow loads. And this is one of the reasons why we want to keep that tilt at optimal tilt for snow loads, and that helps for snow to sheet off the carports. And as far as impact and hail, they're again impact resistant. We install these around golf courses, and they get hit all the time. And golf balls can really, impact glass. And we really don't see too many issues with hail or any other objects impacting the modules.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? If not, is someone ready to advance a motion?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Motion to forward a favorable recommendation on the petition of Eric Gandiz of Solar Optimum HQ on behalf of Six Flags Great America for a special use permit to allow ground-mounted solar energy systems as carports at 542 North Route 21 in substantial conformance with the attached plans and testimony provided to the Planning and Zoning Board on November 20th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
second by Mr. Paff? Any discussion? Joanne, could we have a roll call, please?
Campbell,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nortop.
Aye.
Path,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Ware,
Aye.
and Sula.
Aye, motion carries.
Motion to forward a favorable recommendation on the petition of Eric Gandiz on Solar Optimum HQ on behalf of Six Flags Great America for a special use permit to allow ground-mounted solar energy systems to exceed a maximum height limit of 15 feet by 7.1 feet at 542 North Route 21 in substantial conformance with the attached plans and testimony provided to the Planning and Zoning Board on November 20th, 2024.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Campbell. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Campbell,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nortop.
Aye.
Path,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Ware,
Aye.
and Sula.
Aye, motion carries. As you are probably aware, we are a recommending body to the village board, and the village board will make the ultimate decision, and Autry or somebody else on the staff will let you know when that meeting will occur. Okay,
Understood. Thank you.
okay, thank you, and good luck with the project. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of our meeting schedule for next year, as well as a proposed time change for us to start at 7 PM instead of 7:30. At your chairs, there should have been a revised copy of the schedule that's redlined to show some changes for March and April compared to as different to what was sent in our packet. Audrey, do you want to add anything else?
No, do you want me to go over the introduction or?
No, I think we're good.
And the other copy that is clean, it's just, with the track changes
Right.
being like incorporated, yeah.
Right, okay. Anybody have any issue with starting at 7 instead of 7:30?
No issue.
And any issue with the dates proposed?
As revised, no.
Okay. So we have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the 2025 PZB meeting schedule and changes, and change the meeting start date to 7 PM.
Okay, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Nordenhoff. We probably should do a roll call on this one. Roll call?
Campbell,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Nortop.
Aye.
Path,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Ware,
Aye.
and Sula.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, where is it? Where'd the agenda go?
Next meeting.
I'll open, next meeting is scheduled for December 4th. Do we have anything?
Not as of now.
As of now. Next item is the opportunity for public comment for anything that was not on the agenda. I'll close the floor on that. And one other thing to just think about in the back of your minds, don't need any feedback tonight, but looking ahead to the next budget, staff is considering acquiring iPads for all of us so that we would get our meeting packets electronically on the iPad, I should say, iPad instead of a hard copy. So don't need any feedback right now, but think about it, and when staff will ultimately ask us and
Save the trees.
save the trees, okay? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. You too.